In the winter of 1878, a small Kansas town lay buried under snow and silence. The four Adderley brothers, Jacob, Thomas, Henry, and Samuel, were inseparable, each one guarding a secret no outsider could guess. When Father Adderley died mysteriously, a hush fell over the town. Whispers said the land had claimed him. Shortly after the funeral, one brother vanished. The other three found only footprints in the snow, trailing into the woods and disappearing. The townsfolk said they heard a man's cry in the dead of night, but no one could locate its origin. Anxiety grew. Thomas, the eldest, insisted the missing brother would return. He gathered the surviving pair and led a search through the pines. Hours passed, then days. They found nothing but an old journal in the missing brother's room, pages written in trembling ink. He watches. The earth bleeds names. The night after the discovery, the town's dogs howled without reason. Windows rattled. In the Adderley home, they saw flickers in hallways, silhouettes darting from door to door. Henry swore he saw one brother's face in the mirror, eyes hollow and distant. On the fifth night, the remaining brothers sat by the fire. The journal lay open before them. They heard a slow scratching at the attic door. Thomas stood and climbed the stairs. His lantern flickered. At the top, he saw nothing but a voice whispered his name. Then the lantern died, and from the dark came a sound like heavy breathing behind him. That night, the wind's sigh turned into whispers. The remaining brothers sat huddled in the parlor, the open journal between them. Thomas read aloud, "Blood remembers. Names return when the land is thirsty." Suddenly, the candles flickered violently. A silhouette moved in the corner. Henry gasped, "Who's there?" But no answer came. Henry rose, lantern in hand, and walked toward the shadow. Each step echoed. The floorboards creaked as if something was crawling beneath. He reached the corner, touched the wall, and his fingers found a name. Samuel, carved thin and fresh. The wall seemed to pulse. Back in the study, Thomas saw the journal pages turning by themselves. The ink bled, new lines appearing. "Thomas, see what lies below." He froze. From the attic above came a slow knock. The knock repeated. The house seemed alive, each knock a heartbeat. Thomas climbed the stairs. The knock turned into scratching. He followed the sound to a small trapdoor. He hesitated, then forced it open. Inside, a hidden cavity lined with relics, old bones, tattered clothes, and a rusted ledger bound in skin. The ledger pulses softly in darkness. He grabbed the ledger. Its cover split open, revealing names and accounts not of money but of life. The brothers' names, neighbors' names, names long forgotten. On the last page, balance must be paid. A whisper behind him, "Your name too." Thomas turned. No one. But the ledger's glow intensified. The walls moaned. The journal's whisper came again, "Every debt will be collected." And from a distant hallway, the faint footsteps of a missing brother echoed. Thomas stood frozen, the whisper still hanging in the air. His breath turned white. He turned toward the stairs, but the stairs were gone. Only darkness stretched below, twisting like smoke. From deep inside that void, a faint sound rose, and a voice calling his name. But it was his own. Downstairs, Henry and James heard Thomas's scream. They rushed upward, lanterns swinging wildly. When they reached the attic, he was gone. The lantern light revealed only footprints burnt into the wooden floor, leading into the wall. The wall was cold as stone, but it hummed like something alive. Henry pounded on the wall. "Thomas, answer me." But the sound echoed strangely, as if from far below. Suddenly, a drip of black liquid seeped through the cracks. It ran down the wall, forming shapes and faces, silent, screaming, melting. The lantern flame dimmed, and the house began to breathe. James fell to his knees. The ledger. It's taking him. He clutched the journal, but the pages were blank now. Only one word carved deep into the paper. Offer. Suddenly, every door in the house slammed shut at once. A low, inhuman hum filled the air. The brothers ran to the main hall, but the front door had vanished, replaced by a mirror. Inside the mirror, Thomas stood, pale and trembling, holding the ledger. His eyes were black. He whispered, "One must stay. The debt must end." Then the glass cracked, and the reflection smiled. The mirror shattered. A wave of cold air swept through the hall, extinguishing every flame. The house fell silent until a whisper came from behind the brothers. "Choose who stays." The whisper echoed like a curse. Henry turned slowly, and there it was. The third brother, Samuel, who had died years ago, stood behind them. His clothes were tattered, soaked in something dark. "You left me," he said softly. "Now the house remembers." Henry stumbled back, whispering, "Samuel, we buried you." Samuel smiled, his voice hollow. "You buried my body, not my debt." The black ooze from the walls crawled toward him, wrapping around his feet like chains. The mirror shards lifted into the air, spinning slowly, reflecting faces that weren't theirs. James grabbed Henry's arm. "We need to end it, the ledger!" But the ledger was already open on the floor, its pages turning by themselves. Words carved into the paper glowed red. "The house takes one." The walls pulsed like veins, and every candle in the house turned blue. Suddenly Samuel screamed, a sound not human. His face split into ash and smoke, and through him, the shape of the house appeared, vast, alive, watching. The floorboards bent upward like ribs. Henry fell to his knees, tears in his eyes. "I'll stay," he whispered. "Let my brothers go." For a moment, silence. Then the house sighed. The walls straightened, the candles flickered back to orange, and the whisper faded. The ledger closed itself. Only one footprint remained on the floor, Henry's, burned deep into the wood. James screamed his name. But the house was calm again. Outside, the storm cleared. James walked away from the house, clutching the ledger. But as lightning flashed, he saw his reflection in a puddle, and it wasn't his face anymore. Henry was looking back. The next morning, the mansion stood silent, wrapped in fog. James sat on the porch, the old ledger still in his hands. He tried to burn it, but the fire refused. The ink shimmered through the smoke, forming new words. A debt paid is never a debt forgotten. He ran to the town's church, slamming the ledger on the altar. "Take it!" he screamed. But the priest only stared, and his eyes turning black. "The house doesn't live there anymore," the priest said slowly. "It lives in you." James stumbled back, feeling the cold crawl up his spine. He opened the ledger again and saw Henry's handwriting. "Brother, if you read this, I am not gone. I am the house now. Keep them away." Tears streamed down his face. "I'll end it, Henry. I swear." James returned to the mansion that night with oil and matches. Rain fell hard as he set the porch alight. Flames rose fast, licking the windows like hungry mouths. But as the house burned, faint voices whispered his name from the smoke. "James, you promised." The house collapsed, yet the ledger lay untouched among the ashes. A passing traveler picked it up the next day, brushing off the soot. The cover gleamed faintly as if alive. He smiled, pocketing it, unaware of the curse.